Gotcha. 20 things done in the USA, but nowhere else. I'm really excited to see what this actually means. And I really hope it's not going to be one of those videos that says 20 things done in the US, but nowhere else. But then it actually is. So this better be what it says on the tin. Feel free to stick around and support our little channel here by liking the video to get it out to more eyes. Maybe subscribe if you want to. You probably don't, but it would be nice. Let's jump in.
The United States, but nowhere else. That's right. Here in the United States, we could do a lot of things that other countries shake their collective heads at in disgust or disbelief.
No, we don't, man. Advertising prescription drugs. Oh, this is a crazy one to me, man.
Number 20.
This is a crazy one.
Prescription drugs. The US and New Zealand are the only countries where direct-to-consumer advertising for prescription drugs.
What did I say at the start of the video, man? I'm really excited to see what this actually means. And I really hope it's not going to be one of those videos that says 20 things done in the US, but nowhere else. But then it actually is. We're on the first one, and it's wrong already. It can be done in the US and New Zealand. Okay.
Drugs is legal. We're a little heavy on it compared to New Zealand. We're really heavy on it, actually. This practice is allowed due to the belief in consumer empowerment and the free market, where individuals are encouraged to make informed decisions about their own healthcare without the government being involved. They want to leave it up to you and a giant pharmaceutical company that's making a profit off it. What could go wrong?
Everything, probably. Extreme portion size. This is a great one, bro. But this is a fantastic one.
Extreme portion size. Yes, you know all that super size me, big gulps and everything like that? You're not going to find that just about any place else on the planet. If you go to Japan or a lot of Asian countries, you'll find little tiny Coke cans, not a 40 dog of cherry Coke or something. Now, this is influenced by agricultural abundance, consumer expectations, and a culture that equates value with quantity, leading to larger servings in restaurants. Most of the time, you're going to find this at fast food places. I mean, it's bad enough they're serving us food that isn't terribly healthy, and then they want to sell us more of it. It's no wonder we're...
Hey, let me tell you something about health. See, if you're on this planet and you can breathe, you get a McDonald's. You get a Burger King, because see, when you're dead, it's lights out. Enjoy the shit, all right?
We're one of the fattest countries on the planet.
That's all right. Fattest with the PH, if you know what I mean.
Number 18, tipping culture. In the United States, tipping is customary in restaurants, bars, taxis, and other service industries. It's not as prevalent or expected in many other countries. Matter of fact, most Asian countries will be offended if you try and give them cash past what you owe for, let's say, a meal or something like that.
I think
servers may actually be confused as to what...
That's even crazier than I think. Okay, so I'm from a country where tipping is optional. If you tip, the person says thanks, and the tip goes into a tip jar, and then whatever's in the tip jar at the end of the night gets spread out around the employees. So I always thought that, you know, having to tip in the US, it was customary. It was like you had to do it, or you were a cunt. Excuse my French. I thought that was crazy. But the fact in Asia, they get offended if you try to give them money. Why?
I mean, here in the United States, tipping has gotten out of control. I don't mind tipping someone. I just don't like tipping everyone. It's just a matter of time before there's a tipping section when a cop gives you a speeding ticket. Look at the cop, what's with the tipping section? Well, if you think I did a good job and you want a tip, go ahead. Well, you didn't drag me out of the car and beat me on the sidewalk,
So I think the problem lies with, like, where I'm from again, tipping is done if you feel like you got a good service. If the waiter was great, he was cheerful, made you laugh, made you feel comfortable, and the food was brought out in a good time, and it was nice. So if I go to like a place in America, right, hypothetically, and the waiter is an ass, food's not that great, took too long to come, it's now cold, and I have to spend more money just because. You see what I mean? That's where I'm kind of coming from. That's why I think it's a bit mad. You should only have to tip. In my opinion, you should only tip if you get a good service, bro.
Well, I'm giving you a tip, pal. Shelby Church made a pretty good video on
do you agree or not?
Tipping.
Do you agree or not? Imperial Units. Oh, fuck.
Number 17, Imperial Units. Most of the world uses the metric system, not the United States. We're not a bunch of sellouts. We're sticking with the imperial system. We like our miles, gallons, and Fahrenheit. Meters, centimeters. We're sticking with yards and feet. We should include that British thing and start using pounds also. Yeah, while the rest of the world switched the metric system to make it easy, we decided that wouldn't make it easy on us.
When did we switch?
Stuck with what we know. The Imperial Units now.
By the way, we use miles also. In the UK, we use miles.
When I was a kid, probably, I don't know, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, something like that. So we're talking back in the early 80s, they were getting us ready to switch over to the metric system.
Oh, really?
They
You guys were
teaching
going
it
to
to us
do
in
it?
school, and they said in a couple years we're going to switch to the metric system. But apparently Mississippi, Georgia, Louisiana, Alabama, Arkansas, and West Virginia couldn't get it together. So they had to scrap the whole plan.
What do you mean they couldn't get it together? What the hell are we doing? Drive through everything.
16, drive through everything.
That is
Yes.
not a drive-through pharmacy, man. There's fucking no way. What? I mean, it's unbelievably what's the word? Sorry, I was going to say convenient, but that's not the word. It's unbelievably, I don't know, but it's great.
The US has an extensive culture of drive-through services, not just for fast food, but banks, pharmacies, liquor stores, even weddings in Las Vegas.
Hey, and at the end of the day, it means people don't have to come in. They're sick. They could just kind of pull up in their car, grab their medication, and then just go. I mean, a drive-through pharmacy makes sense in so many ways, right?
Now drive-through. Here in Portland,
Well, you guys have
Oregon, we had
drive-through
a drive-through
McDonald's.
strip club
Stop. Jokes.
during the pandemic. I'm not even kidding.
Electoral college system. What the I don't know what that is.
Number 15, the Electoral College system. Yes, it's a little strange to most people. Designed by the founding fathers to balance the influence of the populous and less populous states, ensuring a distribution of power that prevents dominance by heavily populated areas, which I kind of
I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know what the fuck he just said.
understand in a way because the states are supposed to be equal. Even though one state may have more people, the states still need representation. Now, they do
Okay.
factor in the size of the state and how many people. That's how many electoral college votes they get. As an example, Texas has a much higher population than, let's say, Kansas. So Texas has about 30 million residents. They get 26 electoral college votes. Kansas, on the other hand,
Get more.
only has about 3 million. They get 7. So each state, depending on the amount of people
Oh,
they have, do have a
okay,
little more
I get it.
power than other states.
Yeah.
But at least everyone has some skin in the game this way. And
get it.
stop typing. Those aren't the current numbers, which brings me to my other point. As the census comes out, they change how many electoral college votes you get, depending on what your population's doing. The map for the upcoming 2024 election,
very confusing.
Texas has 40 electoral college votes, and Kansas only has 6. They've actually gone down a little bit. Texas has gone up. Obviously, California, having the largest population, has the most votes with 54.
does it?
One other little fact that I find strange there, 2 different states split their electoral college votes. So they could go either way. They could both go Democrat. One could go Democrat. One could go
Hey, where's everybody from? I want to know what state you're from right this second. I want to know.
Republican. They can both go Republican, whatever. And that is Nebraska and Maine. Myself, I think they should split up the votes by the city versus rural areas because they're always going to be different. They have different ways of life, they have different values, and they have different ideas of how this country should work. Still has to follow the population, but let's say you take California. Los Angeles gets 10 electoral college votes, but you go out to the desert to the east of there where hardly anyone lives, maybe they at least get 1 vote. Same thing in Oregon. They get 8. Let's give Portland, where most of the people live, 5, and then split up the other 3. I don't know. It's a mess. It's kind of weird, especially if you come from another country.
Right to carry the weapons. Again, this is a crazy one to me,
14,
man.
the right
it really
to carry
is.
weapons.
Crazy.
The U.S. has unique gun laws allowing citizens to own and carry firearms under the Second Amendment.
This
level
scares
of
me,
gun
man.
ownership and the variety of firearms available is not common in most developed countries. That
Because I know it's normal for you guys, right? I know it's normal for you guys, and that's perfect. I love that for you because that means you're comfortable. But if you came to Belfast, man, and you were just walking down the street, right, and you walk by a home house and there's somebody standing in the front garden with a gun, you better run the other way, man, because that means bad news. That means very bad news, man. That means someone is about to get it.
that aren't in some sort of conflict. The Second Amendment is in the U.S. Constitution and it protects this right to bear arms. It's rooted in the country's history and culture of self-reliance and defense against tyranny.
Okay. Free refills. This one just makes me pure jealous, man.
Number 13, free
Jealous is what this one
refills.
gives me,
now,
bro.
This is something that you'll only find in the United States. Our restaurant industry is very competitive, and they want to give you the best experience they can get because that way maybe you'll come back. Soda, drinks, they don't cost that much. I mean, it actually costs more for the cup than the fluid you stick in that cup. So if you can power through a large Dr. Pepper, you can get another one here in the United States. Very few restaurants don't offer free
Man,
refills, and usually there's something
I
else
drink
about them
so
that
much.
is drawing people in. Like out here on the West Coast, we have In-N-Out Burger. People line up to go there because the burgers are really good. It's been a couple of years since I've been in one, but the one in Southern California didn't have free refills.
Whenever I eat, guys, I drink so much. It's crazy. Like, when you when you go to a restaurant, you get like the drink brought out before your food comes sometimes. Well, I have probably like 2 drinks gone already before my food's even came. I'm awful.
The other ones where they did have free refills, but they have a line out the door. They're not worried about the customer satisfaction, so they don't offer it in some places. Now, it's been a couple years. That might have changed. That's just an example I give. I live in Oregon now, and there's like 2 in the whole state. Number 12, college sports sponsorships. Colleges and universities are an industry now. The sports is just one of the products they're selling. They're putting on a show. That show needs sponsors. That show needs advertisers.
Man, I done a video on my other channel to do with college football stadiums, man. And now you're telling me they got actual sponsors as well? Well, surely college football should just be labeled as a mainstream sport now. Holy shit.
The athletes get out of this? Normally, they just get an education out of it. I do know there are some changes going on right now where they can get a cut of the advertising and stuff like that. That's not what this video is all about. That could be a 2-hour documentary by itself. The advertising and the sponsorships in college sports is a billion-dollar industry. They hire the best coaches. They recruit the best players, not because they want to win, just to win. They want to win so they'll be on the national scene, which means bigger paydays for the university.
God damn. Pledge of Allegiance in school.
Number 11, the Pledge of Allegiance in schools. Now, when I was a kid, I for some reason thought it was Legions, so Pledge of Allegiance.
Is this when they do the Pledge of Allegiance?
And I saw the word and I went, oh, allegiance. Wow, what was I thinking? You ever have one of those things where you've just said it or thought it for so long, and then all of a sudden one day you're driving down the road, you're like, wait, what? Why did I think that it was that way? This happened to me with chocolate milk. When I was a little kid, someone told me it came from black cows. And it's not one of those things you think about every day, but I was like in high school or something, and all of a sudden someone said something about chocolate milk. I'm like, holy shit, came from black cows. And my friends just stared at me, thought I was making a joke. You know, I'm sure at any time in my life after the age of like 5, if I would have thought about it, I would have immediately dismissed it, but, never really thought about it. Yes, but this was initiated in the late 19th century and adopted widely during the 20th century to promote national unity and patriotism. Reciting the Pledge of Allegiance in schools is uniquely American. Well, it is now. They used to do something similar in the Soviet Union. I would not doubt they do something in North Korean schools too. The weird thing about it is they force you to stand up and do it. Now, I understand maybe teaching kids the importance of something like this or the history of it, but to actually force them, I've always thought was kind of weird.
I think that is weird. I think forcing kids to do anything that makes them uncomfortable in school is not a good thing to do, because all it does is make them worse when they have to do it at other points in their life. Shit like that should be introduced to kids and done voluntarily if they feel up to it. Forcing kids to stand up and do shit in front of class, I just don't think that's the way to go about doing things, man. All it does is incite fear and kind of scars them for having to do it when they're older. I know a lot of people probably go by the method, I'll toughen you, scars will heal. But nah, I think putting kids through traumatic experiences like that and hoping that it will toughen them up, I think that's a bad thing to do, man. Personally, and if any school forces my daughter to do anything, me and their principal's going to have a problem. Jury duty.
Number 10, jury duty. U.S. citizens are summoned for jury duty, participating in the legal system, and it is mandatory unless you've got a really good excuse or you did what I did. I pretended I was insane. I never got a jury summons again the rest of my life. Now, this is California. Two things I did. They asked me my first question. I said I had to consult my attorney. He lives in my pants. I got some giggles. They stared at me. The judge lowered his glasses and said, "Really?" And I said, "I don't know." Their next question to me was, "Have you ever committed a crime?" I said, "I don't know. Is this a real cop?" And I pointed towards the bailiff, and he said, "I am a sheriff." I said, "Then I plead the 25th Amendment," which I should have said 5th Amendment, but I knew that, but I just thought I'd be weird. And the attorney asked me questions, said, "All right, great. So the vice president here can be excused." Yep, never got another summons.
What? As my guy just went on a tirade there. What just happened, man? Going into debt for college. Yeah, this is a crazy one, isn't it? Without going into too many details, I'm not asking you to expose your financial situation. How many of you guys went to college and you still are paying off your college debt to this day? I'm pretty sure if I'm right in saying, I don't know if it's the same for you guys, right? But here if you like pay for a course, pay for something at university, and you go into debt, you only start paying it back if you get a job where you make a certain amount of money. So if you get a job, passes the threshold, that's when you start to have to pay it off. How does that work for you guys? Let me know.
Number 9, going into debt to go to college. Yes, this is something that is very much a US thing. Other countries do charge for universities and colleges, but nothing like we do. It's not an industry like we talked about earlier with the college sports. Most developed countries offer free college. In Germany, you have free college, plus the government pays your monthly rent. Here in the United States, you collect a massive amount of debt. If you're in the military or you've done some time in the National Guard, like my brother, his daughters went to a state school tuition free because he served in the National Guard. They still had to pay rent and all that stuff, but tuition was free. The amount that is paid for colleges is incredibly out of whack with the way it should be. I was going to a community college back in 1994. The price per unit was $8. Right now, that same community college, it's $47 per unit. That's if you're a resident of California. If you're not, it's like $300 a unit. Then, of course, they have some weird health insurance thing you have to sign up for. They just tack on a whole bunch of other things. It's nonsense.
The government just get their claws in you guys, don't they? They just get their claws in you from every single angle possible, up your ass, into your armpit. They are squeezing out every droplet of blood you got. They want it all, man. Overworking.
Number 8, overtime, or being overworked. The US is considered to be one of the most overworked countries in the developed world. There are some countries like Japan and a few other ones where they do work harder than us, but we're up there. Most countries offer 6 weeks of paid vacation. You can get some vacation depending on your employer here.
You can get that here, man.
I guarantee it's not 6 weeks a year. A lot of other...
I think my mom works in like the community service, so she goes around and helps elderly people in their homes. I think she gets like 3 weeks a year.
Developed countries offer up to 1 year paid maternity leave with job security.
Oh, yeah.
I've talked to a few people that have come to the United States for work.
We get 9
usually
months.
on the tech side of things, and they cannot believe we don't have things like the maternity leave, more than 2 weeks for vacation time.
Wait. You don't got any maternity leave? Surely you do. Surely you do. Where I'm from, my partner's currently on maternity leave. She gets 9 months, and she goes back. I'm pretty sure she has job security with 9 months. What do you guys got? I don't think he just said, did he?
One guy I worked with, he was from India. I won't mention the company because I don't want to get in trouble, but he could not believe that he had to get the okay to get a doctor's appointment. I watched him limp around the office for 2 weeks before he had his doctor appointment. That was another thing entirely.
What?
Turns out he tore his ACL or had a tear in it. He was still walking around, but there was a serious limp.
All right. Using money that is the same color.
Number 7, same color money. Yes, in case you don't know, most other countries have different colored ink for their folding money.
True.
You know, $5 might be green.
See here, there's a 10. Nice and like green. There's a 20. Like gray in it. It's like purple. I brought the box out so that I could give you guys like a variety of notes, but I don't have I got the same one.
And $10 might be red, $20 might be blue. Here in the United States, it's like we had a sale on green ink and we just stuck with it. I worked with they're all in their 20s and stuff like that. And they're college students when I was at Netflix. One day I pulled out a bunch of dollars and asked them if they could name the portraits on each one of the size currencies I had. $5, $10, $20 bill I think I had. They said George Washington for every single one of them. Nobody guessed any of the other ones. I even pointed to the $5 bill and he's known for ending slavery. And a mid-20-year-old college student said, Martin Luther King? I just looked at her and said, I weep for America.
I would know the answer to that. Private prisons for profit.
Number 6, for-profit private prisons.
What?
This is a unique concept only in the US, with private companies running prisons for a profit. Now, just basic economics should tell you if a company is in the profit-making business, they want to get more business.
I don't even know what that means.
Make more profit. That's how companies work. So you're a giant corporation that has a bunch of prisons. You're lobbying to get new laws passed to get more people in jail. The United States has more citizens in jail per capita than any other country on the planet. At the end of 2023, the United States had the highest number of prisoners in the world with around 1.8 8 million people incarcerated. China has the second highest number of prisoners.
What the
with an
hell they
estimated
doing in China, man?
1.6 million people incarcerated.
But they're
in
all nice.
2023. Brazil came in third, and they have a little bit over 1.2. The United States also has the highest incarceration rate in the world, with 716 prisoners for every 100,000 people in the United States.
That's
Other
crazy.
countries with a high incarceration rate include Turkmenistan has 583,
That's
and the U.S.
insane.
Virgin Islands have 542 for every 100,000 residents. There's been many cases where judges have been in cahoots with some of these prisons, and they've gone to jail for it. I remember one, I think it was in Alabama or Louisiana, where they had a youth prison. They were paying a judge kickbacks for sending the youths to the prison. So teenagers were getting
What?
30 days in jail for being out after curfew. They brought a knife to school, they get 3 months in prison for it. It was just weird stuff. Finally, a reporter started doing some digging, and it all came tumbling down.
Wait, so the people that own the prison were paying the judge to send people to the prison. I don't understand how the prison makes money, though. High frequency of sales and discounts. Now we're talking.
Number 5.
Now
high
we're
frequency
talking.
of sales and discounts. The U.S. has a consumer culture with frequent sales events like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and extensive discounting practices. You don't find this in other places in the world. It's a price, that's the price, it's sticking with. They might haggle with you, but they don't run discounts or sales, things like that. While doing some reading, I did find out that if it's a harbor where cruise ships come into, you'll find some there, but they're really catering to the Americans by doing that. Americans can't pass up a sale. My wife's one of them. If she's standing out the door right now and hears me say sale, she's trying to figure out where it is.
Writing in the date begin. I hate this. I hate this, man.
Number 4,
I can't.
writing the date beginning with the month.
No.
Other countries write the
No.
date in the format of day, month, year. To us, that format is just weird, but
No.
turns out
You're
we're the
weird.
weird ones. It's quite common to write the day first
Yes.
everywhere else on the planet.
Our huge cups of coffee. I applaud this
Number
one, man.
3,
Applaud.
huge cups of coffee. As it turns out, other countries find it strange that we offer massive cups of coffee and take it to go. Outside of the US, it's typically consumed in small quantities, and you sit down and drink it at the little cafe or wherever you're at. Yeah, it's
It's-
like a little bit bigger than a
So earlier on, whenever I was saying about, whenever I go to somewhere and I drink really quick. Well, over here, most places, you get a cup of coffee, it's coming out, and you get literally fill your mouth, and the whole cup of coffee's gone. Not even joking. It's shite. Don't know why people do it. So maybe I'm born to live here, because if I get a big cup of coffee, that's me good to go.
shot glass, maybe 3 shot glasses together. That's how big the cup is normally, and we don't fill it with a bunch of cream and sugar and everything else like that. When I was in South America, I saw them squeeze lemon into it a lot. I thought that was strange, and now I do it. That's how I take my coffee, and people look at me weird when I say it. I'm just, do you have any lemon? I just like a squeeze of lemon in my coffee. Everyone's like, what? They want my medication checked. It's embarrassing sometimes.
Lemon in coffee? I mean, I'm not knocking it. Taking home the leftovers. That happens here, to
Number
be fair.
2, taking home leftovers.
That
Didn't
happens here,
finish your
man.
Food, get it to go. No big deal, right? Well, it is a big deal in other countries. It's frowned upon, actually, rude in some other places. In France,
I mean, hold on a minute. He just said 20 things he'd done in the US, but nowhere else. Didn't he just say he takes lemon in coffee because he's seen it in Brazil? Hey, the math ain't mathin', man. I mean, USA in Brazil.
for example, a law had to be passed to allow this to happen. Normally, there isn't that much of a need to do this
What, take
because they
food
don't
away? A
serve
law had to be
giant
passed.
portions like we do here in the United States. But sometimes people want to take the food they paid for home. In other countries, they don't do it, and it is considered rude. But
Why
here
the
in the United States, we
fuck
are a
would it-
consumer economy, and if we paid for it, we want it. When
You
I was
own
a
it?
kid, they called it a doggy bag. Like you were going to take
You
it
pay
home
for
for
it,
the
you own it?
dog. Now, if someone hears you're taking your Diablo burger home to your dog, you get some liberal hippie chick giving you a hard time at your table. Maybe follow you home, protest outside your house. Big sign that says Fluffy's mouth should not be on fire. I try and go to the gym and I got a bunch of hippie chicks yelling shame, shame, shame at me.
No, they don't.
All right, before we get to number 1, did you know we have a new channel called
fuck is
Sweet
this?
Life? All right, here's your question. What major city in the United States do you think would be a better place for our nation's capital instead of Washington, D.C.? All right.
Hawaii.
on to-
Food dies.
And number 1, food dyes. In other countries, it's actually illegal to add food dyes and other additives to food.
Is it?
Here you get the whole rainbow, then some. The reason they have laws against these additives and food colors because it's bad for you. Here in the United States, we promote
We don't
food
give
that
a
is
fuck.
actively trying to kill you. There's a comedian that does a great bit on Captain Crunch. He's from Canada. His name's K. Trevor Wilson, and they only have one type of Captain Crunch up there, which is just the basic Captain Crunch. Here in the United States, we have 4 different types of Captain Crunch,
What
and
the
then the occasional seasonal different
that looks
one.
good to me,
What
man.
it is, it's the additives and the food coloring. I mean, we have, only Crunch Berries. That is
But
nothing.
wait, what's the difference between food coloring and food dye? Surely they're kind of. I bet you it's just one of those things where food dyes got made illegal here, so they renamed it to food coloring. We got shit like that. Like, we got cereal and stuff that are colored. How do you color them without food dyes? Food coloring? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, well, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and you have yourself a good bloody day. Peace.